Picture this, a seemingly ordinary couple, John and Lisa, planning their date night. They sit together, their conversation filled with the usual excitement and anticipation that precedes such an event. The air is abuzz with the promise of romance, the thrill of the evening yet to come. Then, out of the blue, a peculiar invitation arrives. A secluded restaurant tucked away in a corner of the city they've never explored. It's new, it's exclusive, and it piques John's curiosity. He's all for trying new things, especially when it comes to food. Lisa, on the other hand, hesitates. There's something about this place that sends a chill down her spine, a foreboding sense of unease she can't quite shake off. But John is insistent, and in the spirit of adventure, she decides to go along. And so, they decided to embark on this mysterious culinary adventure. As they drove along the desolate path, the restaurant finally came into view. A hulking silhouette against the darkened sky, it stood, more a foreboding fortress than a haven for fine dining. The building's design was an uncanny blend of Gothic and Victorian styles, its spires reaching out like skeletal fingers into the night. The windows, dark and vacant, stared out like soulless eyes, watching their every move. As they tentatively approached the entrance, the heavy wooden doors creaked open, revealing a peculiar staff waiting to welcome them. The maitre d', a gaunt figure with an unsettlingly wide smile, greeted them with an almost theatrical flourish. His voice, a low, guttural whisper, echoed softly in the cavernous entrance, sending shivers down their spines. Their interaction with the staff was as uncanny as the building itself. The servers, dressed in antiquated uniforms, moved with an eerie grace, their eyes devoid of warmth. Every word they uttered, every gesture they made seemed calculated, rehearsed. It was as if they were actors in a play, performing a script they'd recited 1,000 times before. They were led through a labyrinth of hallways, past grand dining halls filled with well-dressed patrons, engrossed in hushed conversations. The air was heavy with an intoxicating blend of exotic spices and something else, something undefinable that lingered at the back of their throats. Eventually, they were shown to a table in a dimly lit corner, far removed from the other diners. The isolation was palpable. The only sounds were the distant murmur of voices and the sporadic clink of silverware against fine china. They exchanged a glance, a silent acknowledgement of the strangeness of their surroundings. As the waiter departed, leaving them alone in the gloom, they couldn't shake off a feeling of being watched. The flickering candlelight cast eerie shadows on the walls, creating a chilling tableau that seemed to come alive in the silence. They found themselves alone, in the dimly lit corner, surrounded by an eerie silence. The chilling welcome was over, the stage was set, and their night was just beginning. A thick, dusty menu was placed in front of them. As their eyes adjusted to the dim light, they began to read the strange items listed. Words like moonlit mushroom tartare and crimson nightshade salad danced before their eyes. An involuntary shiver ran down their spines, yet a morbid curiosity compelled them to continue. A sense of adventure, or perhaps foolhardiness, nudged them to trust the waiter's special recommendation. The chef's delight, he had called it with a rather unsettling smile. A dish with no name, only an ominous description. A surprise for the brave. Their decision made, they watched as the waiter scribbled down their order with an air of satisfaction that seemed almost sinister. As he collected the menus and retreated into the depths of the restaurant, the couple exchanged a nervous glance. As the waiter disappeared into the shadows, they couldn't shake off the feeling of unease. The dishes arrived, beautifully presented but with an odd aroma. The couple, Mike and Lisa, eyed their plates with a mix of curiosity and apprehension. Their attempt to savor the meal was more a test of courage than a culinary delight. The food, while exotically presented, carried an unusual scent, a mix of herbs and something else they couldn't quite place. It was unsettling, yet they soldiered on, their polite smiles never faltering. Mike, ever the adventurous one, took the first bite. His face contorted in a struggle to decipher the taste, a silent cue for Lisa to proceed. She hesitated, her fork hovering over her dish, her eyes darting between Mike and the peculiar cuisine. With a deep breath, she plunged her fork into the dish, bringing it to her lips. The taste was as strange as the aroma, a blend of flavors they had never encountered before. It was neither revolting nor delicious, residing somewhere in the no-man's land of taste. Their discomfort grew, an unspoken dread filling the air. Lisa, however, was not one to back down easily. Determined to make the best of the situation, she decided to dig deeper into her meal. That's when she saw it. Her fork hit something hard, something that didn't belong in her dish. Carefully, she moved the food aside, her heart pounding in her chest. As the object came into view, she felt her blood run cold. It was a ring, a silver band adorned with a familiar-looking gemstone. It was identical to the one her best friend Susan always wore, the same friend who had mysteriously disappeared a week ago. In that horrifying moment, the pieces fell into place. The strange invitation, the chilling welcome, the unusual menu, it was all part of a sinister plot that they had unknowingly walked into. A scream pierced the silence. Lisa's face drained of color. In the midst of the chaos, they tried to make sense of the horrifying truth. The restaurant, once a symbol of a delightful date night, had turned into a maze of terror. The couple, with their hearts pounding like war drums, felt the icy grip of fear tighten around them. They had stumbled upon a sinister secret, a secret that was not meant to be unearthed. The staff, once the epitome of hospitality, transformed into menacing figures, their smiles replaced by sinister scowls. The couple's every instinct screamed at them to flee, to escape from the macabre banquet that had been laid out for them. They realized that their only hope was to navigate through the labyrinth of the restaurant, a task easier said than done. Their desperate attempts to escape became a desperate dance of survival. They darted through the narrow, winding corridors, their footsteps echoing off the cold stone walls. Each turn, each corner brought with it a new wave of terror. The whispers of the staff, the eerie laughter, the clinking of cutlery against plates, every sound seemed amplified, resonating within the confines of the restaurant. The couple's fear fueled their determination, their will to survive. They clung to each other, their hands intertwined as they dashed through the final corridor, the restaurant's exit in sight. Their breaths came in ragged gasps, their hearts pounded in sync with the ticking of the clock, every second a priceless commodity. The door to freedom was within reach, the cold metal handle a beacon of hope. With a final surge of adrenaline, they flung the door open, stepping out into the night. The cold air hit them like a wave, the chilling silence a stark contrast to the cacophony they had left behind. As the restaurant's door slammed behind them, they found themselves in the chilling darkness. Their date night had turned into a nightmare, a terrifying escape they would remember for the rest of their lives. They raced through the desolate path, their hearts pounding in their chests. The night, once filled with the promise of a romantic date, had turned into a desperate bid for survival. Every shadow seemed to loom, every sound echoed with menace. Yet, they pressed on, the adrenaline surging through their veins, urging them forward. The couple's terrifying journey back home was fraught with peril. They were far from the city's comforting lights, deep in the heart of a wilderness that seemed to close in around them. Their breaths came in short, ragged gasps, their footsteps crunching loudly against the gravel-strewn path. They dared not look back, for fear of what they might see. Their only hope was the faint glow of their home, growing steadily larger in the distance. As they neared familiar surroundings, a wave of relief washed over them. The towering trees that had loomed so ominously now served as a comforting shield from the horrors they'd left behind. The couple clung to each other, their shared fear morphing into a bond stronger than any they'd felt before. They staggered into their home, slamming the door behind them. The familiar sights of their living room, so mundane and ordinary, had never seemed more beautiful. Every piece of furniture, every family photo, served as a reminder of the safety they'd taken for granted. In the quiet of their home, their breaths slowly returned to normal, the adrenaline subsiding to leave a bone-deep exhaustion. They collapsed onto their couch, their bodies trembling from the ordeal. Their eyes met, a silent understanding passing between them. They had survived. They were safe. They held each other close, their bodies curled together as if to ward off the lingering chill of their ordeal. The night outside their windows was still dark, still foreboding, but inside their home, there was warmth, there was safety. Safe at last, They promised to stick to familiar places for their date nights. They had learned their lesson, a terrifying brush with the unknown that would forever serve as a stark reminder of the dangers that lurked in the shadows.